Right, now for this, Iran's supreme leader says that the standoff with the U.S. is, quote, unsolvable, and his nation will never back down. This more than 2 months after the U.S. bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. Listen.
They were so convinced that this attack would shake the foundation of the Islamic Republic in the country. They were so convinced that it would turn the people against the Islamic Republic. They were so sure that one day after the attack began, they sat down to discuss who would govern Iran after the Islamic Republic and how. They even appointed a king.
Let's go ahead and bring in Rafael Grossi. He's the Director General of the IAEA, that's the International Atomic Energy Agency, whose inspectors keep tabs on Iran's nuclear program for the entire world, or they were, right, sir, up until the U.S. air attacks a couple of months ago, at which point inspectors were driven out. We are hearing reports now of a potential breakthrough. Your team might be allowed back to inspect the sites?
Indeed, Gillian. We have, of course, when the attacks began, it was obvious that there was inspection work was not possible. It was wartime, actually. So we left the country. And ever since, we have been in negotiations with Iran to return. It's not an easy situation, as you can imagine, because for some in Iran, the presence of international inspectors is detrimental to their international security. For some, it is not the case. So it was a matter of trying to see what would be necessary for us to return and do what we need to be doing. You know that Iran is a member of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, so they have to have inspections. We have been discussing with them. Now the first team of IAEA inspectors is back in Iran, and we are about to restart. Of course, when it comes to Iran, as you know, there are many facilities. Some were attacked, some were not. So we are discussing what kind of modalities, practical modalities, can be implemented in order to facilitate the restart of our work there.
So here in Washington, I understand you're going to meet with a whole array of senior Trump administration officials.
Special Envoy Witkoff was being mentioned just now. Mm-hmm. I had a very good meeting with him. I've been in contact with him since, of course, the beginning of the administration, and we are discussing with him some of the issues. Of course, he is busy on many tables.
So what was his reaction to this? The news that inspectors are going back in?
Of course, for the United States, it is very important to follow this in order to consider whether bilateral negotiations that were taking place, you remember, before the attacks could resume or not. So I was giving Steve Witkoff my impressions, getting his, and seeing how we can move from here.
So the Trump administration, big picture, has pulled back from any kind of negotiating with Iran. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. The Europeans are going full steam ahead. How have you found Steve Witkoff and others in the administration, in the U.S. administration, reacting to that? Are they keeping up to speed with you on what the Europeans are doing?
They're working very hard for peace. And we've seen many successes in the past few weeks, where, in spite of very difficult conditions, it has been possible to broker deals, to bring people together. This is a special case because, of course, Israel is also involved. There is a matter where the United States took action. Mm-hmm. So the reconstruction of this dialogue, conversation, is more difficult, but it's not impossible. It's not at all impossible. Of course, certain conditions must be met, and our work, the work of the inspectors, is indispensable, because without us being there checking what is going on, you cannot enter any serious negotiation without knowing what is really happening in countries, especially if you want to avoid a repetition of what we saw in June.
Well, how long do you think the Iranian regime should have now to come back into compliance, before the snapback sanctions go into effect?
This is, you just mentioned the fact that there are other actors involved. Mm-hmm. The Europeans are, of course, considering very seriously this idea of reimposing sanctions. Mm-hmm. And in order to assess whether they do it or not, I mean, this is perhaps a question better put to them than to me, but just to give you the context, before deciding on that, they want to see whether, one of the things they want to see is whether they are cooperating with the IAEA, whether they are amenable to inspections and whether there is kind of a return to normalcy, sort of.
Well, Mr. Grossi, you're a very important voice on this. Of course, thank you for taking time with us in the studio. It's great to see you. We would love to check back and find out how your talks in D.C. this week
Absolutely.
continue. All right, thanks.
We will love to do that. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.